of the will cipher, many different combinations in addition to the one given above can be made of the letters, but this is the only one which will produce sense, and the cryptogrammatist must keep on experimenting until he discovers a logical and intelligible message. He may then feel reasonably sure that he has deciphered the system. Lord Bacon involved the biliteral cipher in many different ways. There are probably a score of different systems used in the Shakespeare folio alone, some so intricate that they may forever baffle all attempts at their decipherment. In those susceptible of solution, sometimes the A's and B's have to be exchanged. At other times the concealed message is written backwards. Again only every other letter is counted. And so on. Insert an example of biliteral writing. In the above sentence note carefully the formation of the letters. Compare each letter with the two types of letters in the biliteral alphabet table reproduced from Lord Bacon's De Augmentis Signorum. A comparison of the D in Wisdom with the D in N discloses a large loop at the top of the first, while the second shows practically no loop at all. Contrast the I in Wisdom with the I in Understanding. In the former, the lines are curved and in the latter angular. A similar analysis of the two R's in Desired reveals obvious differences. The O in More differs only from the O in Wisdom in that a tiny line continues from the top over towards the R. The A in Then is thinner and more angular than the A in R, while the R in Riches differs from that in Desired in that the final upright stroke terminates in a ball instead of a sharp point. These minor differences disclose the presence of the two alphabets employed in writing the sentence. The key to the biliteral cipher from Bacon's De Augmentis Signorum. After the document to be deciphered has been reduced to its A and B equivalents, it is then broken up into 5-letter groups and the message read with the aid of the above table. A modern wheel, or disk, cipher. The above diagram shows a wheel cipher. The smaller, or inner, alphabet moves around so that any one of its letters may be brought opposite any of the letters on the larger, or outer, alphabet. In some cases the inner alphabet is written backwards, but in the present example, both alphabets read the same way. The biliteral alphabet. From Bacon's De Augmentis Signorum. This plate is reproduced from Bacon's De Augmentis Signorum, and shows the two alphabets as designed by him for the purpose of his cipher. Each capital and small letter has two distinct forms which are designated A and B. The biliteral system did not in every instance make use of two alphabets in which the differences were as perceptible as in the example here given, but the two alphabets were always used. Sometimes variations are so minute that it requires a powerful magnifying glass to distinguish the difference between the A and B types of letters. Continued. There are several other forms of the literal cipher in which letters are substituted for each other by a prearranged sequence. The simplest form is that in which two alphabets are written thus: A B C D E F G H I K L M N Z Y X W U T S R Q P O N M O P Q R S T U W X Y Z L K I H G F E D C B A. By substituting the letters of the lower alphabet for their equivalents in the upper one, a meaningless conglomeration results, the hidden message being decoded by reversing the process. There is also a form of the literal cipher in which the actual cryptogram is written in the body of the document, but unimportant words are inserted between important ones according to a prearranged order. The literal cipher also includes what are called acrostic signatures, that is, words written down the column by the use of the first letter of each line, and also more complicated acrostics in which the important letters are scattered through entire paragraphs or chapters. The two accompanying alchemical cryptograms illustrate another form of the literal cipher involving the first letter of each word. Every cryptogram based upon the arrangement or combination of the letters of the alphabet is called a literal cipher. 2. The pictorial cipher. Any picture or drawing with other than its obvious meaning may be considered a pictorial cryptogram. Instances of pictorial cipher are frequently found in Egyptian symbolism and early religious art. The diagrams of alchemists and Hermetic philosophers are invariably pictorial ciphers. In addition to the simple pictorial cipher, there is a more technical form in which words or letters are concealed by the number of stones in a wall, by the spread of birds' wings in flight, by ripples on the surface of water, or by the length and order of lines used in shading. Such cryptograms are not obvious, and must be decoded with the aid of an arbitrary measuring scale, the length of the lines determining the letter or word concealed. The shape and proportion of a building, the height of a tower, the number of bars in a window, the folds of a man's garments, even the proportions or attitude of the human body, were used to conceal definite figures or characters which could be exchanged for letters or words by a person acquainted with the code. Initial letters of names were secreted in architectural arches and spans. A notable example of this practice is found on the title page of Montague's Essays, 3rd edition, where an initial B is formed by 2 arches and an F by a broken arch. Pictorial cryptograms are sometimes accompanied by the key necessary for their decipherment. A figure may point toward the starting point of the cipher or carry in its hand some implement disclosing the system of measurement used. There are also frequent instances in which the cryptographer purposely distorted or improperly clothes some figure in his drawing by placing the hat on backwards, the sword on the wrong side, or the shield on the wrong arm, or by employing some similar artifice. The much-discussed fifth finger on the Pope's hand in Raphael's Sistine Madonna and the sixth toe on Joseph's foot in the same artist's Marriage of the Virgin are cunningly concealed cryptograms. 3. The achromatic cipher. The religious and philosophical writings of all nations abound with achromatic cryptograms, that is, parables and allegories. The achromatic is unique in that the document containing it may be translated or reprinted without affecting the cryptogram. Parables and allegories have been used since remote antiquity to present moral truths in an attractive and understandable manner. The achromatic cryptogram is a pictorial cipher drawn in words, and its symbolism must be so interpreted. The Old and New Testaments of the Jews, the writings of Plato and Aristotle, Homer's Odyssey and Iliad, Virgil's Aeneid, the Metamorphosis of Apuleius, and Ops fables are outstanding examples of achromatic cryptography in which are concealed the deepest and most sublime truths of ancient mystical philosophy. The achromatic cipher is the most subtle of all, for the parable or allegory is susceptible of several interpretations. Bible students for centuries have been confronted by this difficulty. They are satisfied with the moral interpretation of the parable and forget that each parable and allegory is capable of 7 interpretations, of which the 7th, the highest, is complete and all-inclusive, whereas the other 6 and lesser interpretations are fragmentary, revealing but part of the mystery. The creation myths of the world are achromatic cryptograms, and the deities of the various pantheons are only cryptic characters which, if properly understood, become the constituents of a divine alphabet. The initiated few comprehend the true nature of this alphabet, but the uninitiated many worship the letters of it as gods. 3 inserts. An alchemical cryptogram. From Brown's History of Chemistry. James Campbell Brown reprints a curious cipher from Kirker. The capital letters of the 7 words in the outer circle read clockwise, form the word SVLPHVR. From the words in the second circle, when read in a similar manner, is derived FIXVM. The capitals of the 6 words in the inner circle, when properly arranged, also read SSAL. The following cipher is thus extracted: sulfured fixum estate sol, which when translated is fixed sulfur is gold. An alchemical cryptogram. From Jaime Figueroa de Rosencreuser. Beginning with the word Visita and reading clockwise, the 7 initial letters of the 7 words inscribed in the outer circle read vitriol. This is a very simple alchemical enigma, but is a reminder that those studying works on Hermeticism, Rosicrucianism, alchemy, and Freemasonry should always be on the lookout for concealed meanings hidden either in parables and allegories or in cryptic arrangements of numbers, letters, and words. A cryptic depiction of divine and natural justice. From Silenus Cryptomnesis et Cryptography. The first circle portrays the divine antecedents of justice, the second the universal scope of justice, and the third the results or human application of justice. Hence, the first circle deals with divine principles, the second circle with mundane affairs, and the third circle with man. At the top of the picture sits Themis, the presiding spirit of law, and at her feet 3 other queens, Juno, Minerva, and Venus, their robes ornamented with geometric figures. The axis of law connects the throne, of divine justice above with the throne of human judgment at the bottom of the picture. Upon the latter throne is seated a queen with a scepter.